I cannot waste no time, bitch, I'm really grinding. If I ever said I love you, I was lying. I fuck with you, but you was always like a side bitch, cause I could never put nothing over grind.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the franchise series. Y'all already know what it is. It's your man Chef. We're coming at y'all with episode 3. In last episode, we looked at a couple of things just to recap from the second episode. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. Also, guys, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment on the page. But let's go ahead and recap last episode. We talked about, how Sam Darnold was doing. We looked at, Jamal Adams, how he was performing, and Robbie Anderson got a big contract. One of the biggest storylines from the last episode, though, that I really want everybody to try to pay close attention to, and that I kept up with myself, was the Titans. And let's go look at them. And like I said, I know that this is supposed to be about the Jets, and I promise you it is, but we are also going to show other teams, because I can know how boring it can get just looking at one team, and I know everybody wants to see a couple of teams. Plus, we got 2 other users in this league, so I would like to take a look at their teams as well. And I just got to reiterate that for anybody that's new to the channel, if they're wondering why it's about the Jets, why I'm showing the Titans, that's why. But as we go look at the Titans, one of the biggest storylines coming out of that camp was the quarterback situation. Nobody knew if it was really interesting to see if Tighten Up Davis was going to stick with Dobbs, or was he going to go to Marcus Mariota when he came back? And he actually ended up going with Marcus. So that's very surprising to see how Dobbs was playing really good, and they were on a win streak, and he's bringing Marcus back and putting him in the start lineup. I can understand, because Marcus was a starting quarterback before he went down, and they were still playing good. So it'd be kind of crappy to take his job away from him, but at the same time, it's really a win-win situation for him, because either way, he's got a backup quarterback that he knows can step up if Marcus goes down again and help this team win games. So that's a big plus for him, and it was interesting to see what decision he would make on that. I personally think that he should have stuck with Dobbs since the team was rolling. They were on a win streak with him, versus bringing Marcus back from an injury. Team chemistry might be a little off a little bit with the receivers, so that's something that we're gonna pay a little bit closer attention to as the season progresses, to see how that shakes up. To look at the injuries for Jets, and we'll switch over to Titans and the Bengals and look at them as well. We still got some guys out. Avery Williamson, a big key to the defense, was actually cleared to come back this week, but the doctor said that he has a high chance of re-injury on that shoulder tear, so we're going to let him sit out an extra week. No need to rush him back. We're playing really good football. We don't have to rush this guy back. Let him come back at his own pace. We still got some key linemen out. Both my right guards are out. We're hurting at that side of the ball. Center's out, and then we got a linebacker out. So we don't have really too many really big injuries. The main injury that we have is Avery Williamson, and we are kind of missing him a little bit, but our backup middle linebacker is playing phenomenal. So when Avery comes back, defense shouldn't miss a beat. We should actually get a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see here. Let's go look at the Titans injuries. Derrick Henry still out with broken ribs. They still got their right guard out, but they did get back Arakpo and Marcus, which is really key to this team. So that's a big boost for them. The Bengals, they've got their starting halfback out, running back out, and he's out for the season. He tore his Achilles, so he's out for 44 weeks. But they have Joe Mixon, who is a really good running back, and that's another thing I want to look at, because Joe Mixon, he's a little younger than Giovanni Bernard, and I think with Bernard going down, Mixon can now step up and try to assert himself as the starting running back for the Bengals, and actually the future running back for the Bengals as well. I think he's a really good running back, and I think Tennessee Tough is going to enjoy having him getting majority of the snaps now. But that's another thing that'll be something else that we need to look at. If Mixon does play good, does Tennessee Tough put in Bernard, or does he stay with Mixon? So that's something that I'll look at. I'll be monitoring over the course of the season and reporting to you guys in the following episodes. One of his key receivers broke a thumb, so he's out for 4 weeks, and then he's missing a lineman. And in this game, you need your starting lineman, because if you don't have depth, then your line is going to be trash. It's really hard to have a good offensive line. My offensive line is trash, and we're losing guys left and right. So let's see here. Let's go look at some scouting, see what we've been doing on the scouting, and I'll also look at my team in just a second and show you guys some stats. Nick Bosa looks like he's going to be the top guy in the draft. That's a guy that everybody's going to be going after. We could definitely use him on our side. Ed Oliver, that's another guy that I'm looking at that I want to draft, and I'm going to add these guys to the board. You know, left tackles, we got to get some left tackles. Right tackles, we got to get right tackles. We got to get everything. If I can, my biggest needs to me are my offensive and my defensive line. Those are the biggest things that I want to improve on next season. So anything that we can do to improve on that, whether it's in the draft or free agency, we're going to do it, and we're going to look at a lot of guys that can come in and try to contribute and make us a better football team. Another key guy that I've been looking at, like I said, is a guy that Tighten Up Davis created when he did the draft class, Dante Boot Jr. Big physical receiver. He's got great hands. He can run a deep route, and he can catch in traffic. So that's a guy that we're definitely going to be adding to the draft board, and he's going to be. That's not necessarily something that we really need, because I don't really need wide receivers right now. But he's something that once we fill those defensive holes, once we get that defense right, that's a guy we can be looking at when we start looking at, you know, are there any offensive players available that we need? That's a position that I would like to improve, but it's not a big need as far as in the offensive and the defensive line. I really can't see who the Titans and the Bengals scout, because, you know, you're not able to see that, but I'm sure they're scouting the same guys. One of the big guys that is really, really impressing me on defense outside of Jamal Adams is Tremaine Johnson. I believe he's got up to 6 or 7 picks so far in the season. He had 2 picks in one game, which was crazy. He's been tearing it up. But we go look at his stats for this year. He's got 5 interceptions. So he's got 5 interceptions, but he's got 25 tackles. He's already got more interceptions than he's had in the last 2 years, honestly. 2015 was his biggest year with 7 interceptions. He's on pace to break that, so he's having a really good year. This is looking like it's going to be a career year for him. His tackles need to come up, but they haven't. I mean, he hasn't really had to tackle anybody because, like I said, man, Jamal Adams has been all over the field. And let's go look at his stats, because I know I keep pumping him up, and his stats may not be what everybody thinks they are. It may not be as high as what you would consider a really good year. But the impact of him just being on the field, just being in the area that he's in, really, really, really helps his defense. And so far, he's got 47 tackles. He's got 1 interception. He's got 3 tackles for loss, which means he's coming up and he's tackling when they're running the balls, which is something that you really need as a safety. He's got 30 solo tackles and 17 of them are assisted. So I expect him to have a lot more than that as the season goes. But like I said, I haven't said this before, but my defense is the biggest key to us winning this year. They have really stepped up and played way better than what I expected. I did not expect Tremaine Johnson to have the year he's having. Scrine is having a hell of a year. You know, he's not really doing too much as far as in, you know, let me go ahead and upgrade him really quick. Let's see. He's not really doing too much as far as in like interceptions like Tremaine Johnson is doing, but he's doing the little things. He's making the tackles as soon as the guy's catching the ball. He's not letting the receivers get extra yards. He's deflecting passes. He's just doing all the little things that you can ask for out of a defensive back, especially being 5'9" in the NFL. Because everybody knows this is a big man's league, and everybody wants big physical cornerbacks, and that's a little small for a DB in the NFL, but with his skill and his playmaking ability, he's making up for it. He's got 1 interception on the year, 34 tackles. He had more last year. He had 70. It seems like his career average is around 1 interception a year. So that just goes to show you that guys really don't throw over to his side because, he'll pick it off. Or maybe, maybe he's not picking it off. In my experience with him, he doesn't really try to intercept the ball a lot. He just deflects the passes, which is still good. I mean, I'd like to see him get a little bit more interceptions and cause some turnovers, but at the same time, he's keeping that receiver from catching the ball. To go look at the standings, we're going to go look at the standings next for the we're going to look at for the AFC and the NFC, just to give y'all a heads up on what's going on in the NFC, because I know I haven't really shown that much. The Seahawks, as you can see, are the number 1 team. They're 7-0. Rams are 6-2, and then so forth. I'll scroll down, let you guys see that, and you guys can hit pause and look at that yourself. And then the AFC, you got the Jaguars, they're 7-1. Titans are 6-1. Both of those teams are in the same division, and it's kind of funny because I'm trying. It's going to be really interesting to see how this shakes up the playoff picture with these two teams. You got the Steelers from the AFC North, they're 6-1, and then you have another AFC South team that's 6-2, and they're the 5th best team. Then you have the Bengals and then the Jets. So we're 6-2. So the Jets and the Bengals are both playing a lot better than what I expected. The Bengals, I didn't expect them to have the year that they're having, but I also didn't expect them to be just a complete bust. I said that they would compete, but I didn't think that they would be competing for a playoff spot. When I meant compete, they would give teams a hard time to win. They would scrap their way out with probably about 7-8 wins on the season, not really make the playoffs, but they have something to build on for next year. But they're already on pace to break that 8-win mark and possibly make the playoffs. And then you have the Jets, my team. I honestly don't even understand how we're 6-2. But I can tell you right now, that's a big part on the defense. Our defense has stepped up in a major way. They're putting the offense in position to get easy touchdowns, and they're causing havoc for the opposition. So kudos to the Jets defense for that, because without them, we're probably looking at an 0-6 record. Not 0-6, but 0-8 record right now. And then I'll scroll down. You guys can pause the video and look at the teams. Let's look and see who the best defense is so far. So points allowed. You want the fewest points allowed. So when we look at it, the Jaguars have the best defense in the AFC. We're right behind them at number 2. And then, the gap gets a little bigger as far as in yardage. And then when you go to the NFC, the Seahawks have the best defense in the NFL this year, hands down. They're only allowing 85 points. They've only given up 85 points. I think I said yards allowed. I meant points. They've only given up 85 points on the season, so that is really good. They have the best defense in the NFL this year, so it's going to be really hard to beat the Seahawks. And they're 7-0. Can they go undefeated? I don't know. We'll see. But they are 7-0, and it doesn't like they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. Go look at our schedule. We've got the Dolphins up next. I will be bringing y'all highlights from that game once I complete it. So stick around for that at the end of this video. There will be highlights against the Dolphins. The Bills, we got the Bills next. So two division teams in our division that we'll be playing. We got a bye week, which you really need to rest guys up. Then we go take on the Patriots. That's another division game. Our division's really weak this year. We're at the top of it, so we got to take advantage of these 3 games. We got to really beat these teams up and win to take advantage. And then, we go to Nashville to play the Titans. Tighten up Davis. I hope he's ready. We're going to bring the pain to Marcus. He ain't ready. Big boy ain't ready. But, we got the Titans, then the Bills, Texans, Packers, and then the Patriots again. So our schedule, it's so. We could lose all these games or we can win all these games. The way that my team's playing, I believe we can win every single one of them right now. But like I said, it's remained to be seen. We're taking it week by week. Let's see here. Another thing that I wanted to show y'all, and this has to do with the Bengals. really, really interesting. And I want to know what everybody thinks on this as far as in the Bengals. And you don't have to comment on it, but if you want to, I just want to get everybody's opinion. Should Tennessee Tough, should he develop Brett Hundley, or should he draft a quarterback in the next year's draft to develop? Because Brett Hundley, he traded for him. He traded Andy Dalton for him. He needs a quarterback of the future. So I want to know what everybody thinks. Tennessee Tough needs y'all help. Should he keep Brett Hundley, or should he get a quarterback to develop? Because he really wants a quarterback that he can develop. But alright guys, that's it for this episode. If you stick around, we'll be bringing y'all highlights from the Jets and the Dolphins. And y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Chef. I'm out. Let's go.